Hi, welcome to our San Francisco edition of US Trans Survey Forum. We welcome you and everybody involved with your organization to take the largest survey in America happening now until November 22nd. This survey has happened back in 2015 and is happening again now. And we invite you to take this survey that takes about an hour and make sure that our transgender, non-binary, intersex voices are heard so we can build the best data equity, policy, and inclusion for our transgender communities. I'm excited to have the Office of Transgender Initiatives and grateful for the National Center for Transgender Equality to join us on this call with ParivarBayArea. As we represent ourselves, I'm Anjali Rimi, pronouns she, her, they, them, along with Parivar's Vice President, Lana Patel. And we will share today more information about the US Transgender Survey, and hopefully this will help you complete the survey if you've already started it, or take it right away before it ends on the 22nd. So with that, I welcome Alex Del Rosario from Transgender Survey.
Hi, everybody, and thank you, Anjali, for putting this event on, and thank you to everyone who is tuning in. My name is Alex Del Rosario. My pronouns are they, them. I am the national organizer with the National Center for Transgender Equality, where we do a lot of organizing work and also host the 2022 US Trans Survey with amazing partners like Parivar. So as Anjali noted, the survey is currently live. The US Trans Survey is the largest trans survey in the country. You can go to ustranssurvey.org to take it. The survey itself covers 30 different topics ranging from employment, education, healthcare, and more. It is open to trans folks, binary and non-binary, 16 and over. This is something that we're really excited about, is this survey being open to folks 16 and over, because in 2015, the survey was only open to folks 18 and over. And so we're really excited to give our youth more of an opportunity to share their experiences. The survey is anonymous as well. It is available in both English and Spanish. For folks who prefer to take the survey in Spanish, do know that that is available to you all. In 2015, we had about 28,000 people take the survey, which was really, really exciting. And I'm really excited to share with folks on this call and folks who are tuning in that we have definitely surpassed that number. California is definitely one of the top states on that list. And something that we are now pivoting in these last couple of weeks of the survey is making sure that folks who fall under our priority populations take the survey. Who are our priority populations? Well, based on the 2015 survey, while we were really excited about the amazing turnout that we've gotten, there were some communities that we didn't get to hear as much from. And so for the 2022 US Trans Survey, we are prioritizing trans folks who are Black, Indigenous, or people of color, trans folks who are immigrants of all kinds, so documented and undocumented, trans folks who live in rural communities, trans folks who are living with HIV, and trans folks who are 45 and over. And so if you are one of those people listening and you fall under one of those priority populations, please, 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 please take the time to take the survey. As Anjali noted, it can take about 60 minutes. It really depends on the life experience of the individual. And we do recognize that it is a long survey, and it's only conducted every 5 to 7 years. And the reason why it's so long is because we want to really identify as many disparities and gaps as possible so that we can use this data and use this data to create better policies that benefit our community. For folks who might be interested in learning more about when the data will be public, the data will be public. When I say data, there is no self-identifying information. All of your personal information will be confidential, but there will be reports that will be published for the public, and those will come out in 2023. There will be an executive summary that captures the main findings of the survey. And then there will also be a full report, which is a couple hundred pages that will touch on the findings more in depth. In addition, something I'm really excited about is that there will be a breakout report for each state, meaning that California will have a breakout report that specifically highlights the respondents in California and the experiences that they've shared. And each priority population will have their own breakout report as well. So for example, the Asian and Pacific Islander community will have their own breakout report. And that's something that I wanted to make sure I noted here, because I'm sure there are folks who are maybe tuning in who work for nonprofit organizations, or maybe you're a teacher or a healthcare worker. And our hope is that folks will utilize this data, these reports, to create change in their local communities. And so, yeah, take it. The deadline is November 22nd. If folks have any questions, you can reach out to us at ustrans@transequality.org. And also, if you have any feedback on the questions and what your experience was like, please share that with us, because we want to make sure the next survey is even better. And with that being said, Anjali, I will pass it off to you.
Thank you so much, Alex. That is very encouraging and useful information that you've shared. It is rightfully said that it is a transgender survey by transgender folks. So thank you for all the work and for the journey of where we did today. And it's uhu to California for being on top of that list. So I do want to reiterate the priority populations again. BIPOC communities, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, documented, undocumented folks, folks living in rural communities, and PLHIV, folks living with HIV, and trans folks 45 or over. It's very remarkable and almost historic that the number of responses you've received is quite large. And thank you again for all the work that's done here to get us to this point. So again, if you have not taken the survey, please go to ustranssurvey.org, and or you can scan the barcode on many flyers and posters we have out there, and you should be able to take the survey. I'll hand it over to the Office of Transgender Initiatives with Pau and Shane. And if you want to talk a little bit about how the excitement and the activity has been around the survey in the San Francisco.
Yes, thank you, Anjali, and thank you, Alex, and National Center for Trans Equality for putting on this survey, because it really is incredibly important for the work that we do locally in San Francisco. So at the San Francisco Office of Transgender Initiatives, we are the local government office that focuses on trans and gender nonconforming communities, and we really see ourselves as the bridge between community and local government. And so the data from this survey is incredibly important for us, because we use that with our local communities to educate city and county departments, like our local government departments, local government elected officials, as well as kind of showing through data the needs that our communities have and the inequities that we face. So that is how we have been able to locally work on some really amazing initiatives in the past few years, ranging from housing specific to trans populations, to a guaranteed income pilot program that will launch soon. And really, truly, I cannot emphasize enough how important this data has been from the US Trans Survey for us to be able to present that to elected officials and to city departments, to be able to show that we really need these types of resources specific to our communities. So thank you again to the U.S. Trans Survey, and it truly is incredibly important to take the survey. I know it can be a long time. 60 minutes is like, a long survey, but it truly does make an impact, and it really helps us be counted in a way that our communities are not counted in other ways, for example, with the US Census. So I like to say that this is kind of like our census, because we get to be counted in a way that we don't get counted in a lot of other ways. And then I want to pass it over to my colleague Shane, who also works with me at the Office of Trans Initiatives, to share a little bit about how she uses the survey in education and also the outreach that she's done around this.
Thank you so much, Pao, and so excited to be here. It's really great to meet somebody from the National Center of Transgender Equality. That's amazing, the work you all are doing. And, I worked with Pao and Anjali, Rimi in lots of different occasions in the advocacy work we do, right? Sometimes there are people who don't understand past data points, right? So we get to talk to people in languages that they understand around the experiences our community has, right? So we do that when we ask for these resources. We do that when we also combine the data points with actual stories from our community. So we've really found a method of just talking to folks on the side of government, folks on the side of serving clients within our community in ways that they can understand. And we've also seen the data really reach into people's hearts and pull empathy strings. When people hear the statistic rates of how trans people experience homelessness in the community, or how hard it is to access employment, or how hard it is to access education, the data really paints a picture for people that they might not be able to see otherwise, right? So I think that's what's really important about a survey like this, because the survey really gets an opportunity to collect that data within our communities and share it with other communities who can't really see that perspective from their side. So it's a really great thing that we're doing here with this survey in order to track this information. What I do with my work is I go to different city agencies, as Pao mentioned, and I do trainings, and I do 2-hour trainings on how to work with trans people, getting them in the know of trans experiences. And the 2015 survey has really been such an implemental tool to craft those trainings, to really explain what our experiences look like. And so now that we have a new up-to-date survey, this is a really good opportunity to really learn where we're at as a community now. Some of the things I noticed on the survey that really stuck out to me when I took it were questions around COVID, because that's a whole new experience that our community has had to go through. And we know that trans people on a normal day outside of a pandemic are, really susceptible to some really hard experiences. And now COVID has absolutely exacerbated some of that. So I think the survey is a really great opportunity for us to track what that looks like, so we can then come back to our elected officials and really show how that impact has really hit us, So I'm really thankful to those questions, because we have a time to record that. But yeah, again, we want to utilize this time right now to just encourage everyone who's seeing this to please take the survey. I know it's an hour. Get yourself comfortable in a chair to get it done. But this can really be the data that we use to make more impacts for our community that are positive, and really get people who are outside of the community to know what we go through. So make your voices heard. And again, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Pao, and thank you, Shane, for all you do for the voices of transgender folks in San Francisco through the Office of Transgender Initiatives. Alex, I know you have to run, so if you have any closing thoughts, that would be amazing.
No, I am just grateful for the other speakers and the work that you all do. and to all the folks who take the survey. It's, you know, this survey would not exist without our partners, would not exist without all of the support from the community. So I just wanted to say thank you again.
Thank you, Alex. And thanks for joining us today. And have a great day ahead. See you on the 18th.
See you on the 18th.
And for folks that are continuing to stay on here with us, I want to bring your attention to the FAQs. There are many amazing questions that we all have, and there's great answers here. So the survey is good until November 21st, 2022. So if you wake up on the 22nd and try to take it, it will not be available. So make sure your voice is heard. Who can take the USTS? You know, trans is a wide spectrum. So anybody over 16 years old, as Alex has mentioned, including binary, non-binary, trans identities, whether they're in United States, a US territory, or US military base, are welcome to take it. And, you know, the spectrum being a point of conversation further, you're a non-binary person, intersex person, trans person, it's what you identify yourself as besides what you're assigned at birth. You're welcome to take it. It's your experience as a transgender person. That is what is really important to make the survey be humanized beyond just data points. And you do not have to be currently living as an out trans or non-binary person. And I think that's what gives the element of what are the barriers for us to be able to live our lives authentically, but also without any fear of facing transphobia or violence. As you heard, the survey is being conducted by the National Center for Transgender Equality with the partnership of 3 amazing community conglomerates or partners: the National Black Trans Advocacy Coalition, the Trans Latinx Coalition, and the National Queer Asian Pacific Islander Alliance. So we can make sure that our intersectional, our multicultural existences, even within the transgender community or the broad umbrella of that, are captured. The survey is limited to being on a computer today or on a notepad. So within the San Francisco Bay Area, San Francisco particularly, we have notepads and we can make computers and such available, whether it's the SFLGBT Center or some notepads that Parivar is able to loan so folks can take it. At this time, there's no way to compile the data from a manually filled out paper survey. Hence, that has not been a route that has been taken. It does take about an hour. It took me about 2 hours because there's some questions that are triggering. There are things that are needing some more thought, or you need to just save and walk away and come back, and that's okay. But I would say it's important that you complete the responses, which are completely confidential. There was a conversation about incentives. Many surveys do offer a gift card or aspects of such, but given that this survey is actually going through a steering committee and researchers are going to access, it's very important that the knowledge that's shared is as unbiased as possible. And hence there has not been an incentive model adapted here. With that said, you know, there is 3 cash prizes of the entirety of the thousands of surveys that are being taken. One is for $500 and 2 for $250. Because of, you know, restrictions locally and federally, only those about the age of 18 and over, and legal residents of the 50 US states and the District of Columbia and not living on a military installation overseas are eligible. You know, and you can find the prize rules. Hopefully you're one of those folks. The probability is high because majority of the survey are coming in from California. We talked and heard from the Office of Transgender Initiative as one of the primary recipients of using the data sets, how we're going to allow to educate folks who might like more quantitative versus qualitative lived experiences narratives. So I think that's the one reason you should take it. The second one, I think, is in an unsaid way, you're also building community because it allows you to see how many more folks are on this transgender experience and journey as you are in this country. And that's in the thousands, if not in the hundreds of thousands. So it makes you feel not alone. At least that was the feeling I was left with. Again, the survey is available in Spanish and it's available online at this address. And basically it's addressing everything under the sun that we as trans people endure. We are lucky to be in San Francisco and in the state of California. That is a safe haven, more or less, for transgender people, though we are continuing to build equity, but there's many other places that are not. So this is about making sure that their voices and all of the compilation of the data pain points are understood through data. So it's going to cover the primary social, economic constraints around housing, employment, education, healthcare access, and all those things that affect transgender people. And the best part to culminate what the survey is to make sure that it's not just an academic research paper that someone else has written that doesn't have the lived experience. But having sat on the Outreach Council for about 10 months, I can attest to the fact that from the researcher to the data person to the technology person, it's a trans individual that's involved, empowered, or leading the effort that makes it so much more authentic and so much more accessible for us transgender people from a standpoint of equity, but also from a standpoint of community togetherness. So with that, I would love to get to our speakers here with any closing remarks. And we will go ahead and share the link again with you as as you're watching this video. It's ustranssurvey.org. You can take the survey in English or Spanish.
Thank you, Anjali. I'll just reiterate, it's such an honor to be able to work with you and other partners on getting the word out for this survey. And truly, like you said earlier, some people, prefer quantitative data. And the reality of the world that we live in is that when we look at policy, when we look at resources being allocated by governments and institutions, the numbers really matter, right? And so that's why there truly is strength in numbers. And by showing the extent to which our communities have to handle issues of housing or economic barriers or education barriers, it really helps us build that strength in numbers to be able to make the case for resources to be allocated to our needs. So just wanted to highlight that piece. And thank you for having us.
Absolutely, that is so true, Pao, in terms of how we need to have strength in numbers, though as trans communities are pretty dispersed. I also want to emphasize that this is a highly confidential, survey where none of the information shared. It doesn't necessarily ask for any of your personal information as you take it, but also please note that, even if you share a particular experience, it wouldn't necessarily be coded in a way that it gives away who it is or identifies the respondent. So please know it's a completely confidential survey. Thank you, Pao. Any closing thoughts, Shane?
Thank you, Rimi. I think just to say that, looking at the survey from 2015 that you had mentioned, kind of like not feeling so lonely. And I feel like the first time I remember seeing the 2015 survey, it was a really good opportunity to really see how there were similar experiences that are shared among community. And I think this new up-to-date 22 survey gives us an opportunity to do that again, because we know times have changed since then. More people have come out as trans, or people are even just aware of the terminology around what being trans was. And I can speak for myself as an adult. I didn't know what that was for a long time. So, I feel like the survey is really an opportunity for us to be closer to our community and have ownership of our stories. Even though it, like you said, some of the responses and questions are hard, some of the things that we go through are really difficult, but we're a resilient community. And I really think this helps us to build that resilience So I just want to encourage everybody to take the survey, and thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you, Shane. That's a powerful way to put it, that it is the resilience that we're putting in words and hopefully get presented in ways that are communicable to folks that are in positions of power and are determining the policy and, in a way, the lives of transgender people in America. So thank you all for joining today and joining the San Francisco edition of the US Transgender Survey. Hope this was helpful, and you probably already started getting the survey going. So we'll let you get back to it and complete it. And please note that the survey is open until November 21st, 2022, end of day. So please make sure to take it before and make sure your voice is heard. Together, we can and will better the lives of transgender people in America through this survey and many other ways. So thank you, the Office of Transgender Initiative, Shane and Pau. Thank you, Lana, and thank you, Alex, from the National Center for Transgender Equality, representing the US Transgender Survey. And take care, everyone.